What's up, y'all? So today my name is Jason from the Supplier Summit, who's my rep, and a bunch of other businesses. But today I'm kind of getting ready for another big day at the Supplier Summit. It's day 3. Yesterday we wrapped up day 2, and it was very much a success. A little lower attendance than I was expecting. Typically around 10% of the people that actually registered for an event show up, which is fine because it's, I don't expect people to burden their time with, I don't expect people to take time away from their jobs, take time away from their families to consume this content, but I do expect them to get it eventually because this is really good content. I'm constantly amazed. It's like it's a diminishing return on a level of excitement, but the quality of the presentations has not gone down. So every day we have 4 presenters and me. We have 4 great presenters every day and me. And it's all designed for one purpose, to get buyers and sellers closer together and to make each better at their jobs. So every day there's a bit of content that discusses and gives actionable strategy and tactics to be a better salesperson, which is to provide better service. Not to sell stuff, it is to provide better service, and to help buyers understand different elements of their business that they may or may not have known about before. And so we wrap up everything. It's less than 30 minutes. We try not to make things too long, and it gives you complete access to the people that are presenting these topics because they are experts and they typically focus on 1, maybe 2 things in their businesses, and their whole job is to save you money, save you time, save you headache, and it's totally worth it. So yesterday we had another banging day of really cool stuff. I completely bombed in my presentation, by the way. So I was in my presentation was about sales scripts and how to infuse a bit of psychology and empathy into your encounters as a brand rep with buyers at meetings. And I don't want to say I completely bombed, but it did not go that great. But I did get to meet somebody who was at every presentation. Her name is Marilyn, and she was at every presentation and just kind of listening passively while she was doing her job. And so I got to talk to her, and she has a super fascinating job where she brokers these deals with national accounts. And I kind of got to thinking, is like, if you got to know somebody like that, if you were to meet somebody like that, that could change the complexion of your brand completely, because she could place you in Applebee's or Fridays or Red Rooster or I'm sorry, I'm thinking the burger place, Red Robin, and your job at that point would be to scale your brand to a multi-million-dollar brand. So the value of these seminars, the value of this event is not necessarily in the content itself, but also the people that are in the event. So I wanted to share that with you because I'm building the next version of this, which is the Brand Builder Mastermind, which does pair people up and connect people together to make actionable joint ventures. Now, joint ventures are when 2 businesses share the same goal, but they don't share the same, but they're not competitors. So, for instance, every time a brand and an on-premise outlet make a deal, that is a joint venture because ultimately they are selling to the same end consumer, but through different channels. And obviously there's a bunch of problems with how that connection is made because of the 3-tier system and the odd complexity of the American system of selling liquor. But at the end of the day, we are trying to please the end consumer. It's the consumer that buys the product. It's not the wholesaler. It's not the retailer. And so we're trying to make these connections much more seamless and much less friction. I tend to lean on technology quite a bit. Usually technology that's traditionally applied to other industries or other verticals, and I'm adapting it to the buyers and sellers of liquor. So we're using, crazy, like yesterday I was talking about a script, but the day before that I was talking about cold prospecting and how we don't do that in a very effective way in the United States, at least, or at least the people that I've met. but cold prospecting is 100% where it's at, because it's typically much cheaper than traditional advertising, and there are restrictions on how you can advertise anyways. But you can basically send anybody an email. You can basically send anybody a LinkedIn DM or an Instagram DM, and that has very much less restrictions. There's CAN spam compliance, which regulates how you can and can reach out to people unsolicited. Basically, just don't be a dick. Don't send them 100 emails. Just send them 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4, depending on what the situation is. And that's the kind of stuff that we want to cover in the Supplier Summit. So the Supplier Summit is the tip of the iceberg. It's the very beginning. It's a more of a monologue than a dialogue. So the Brand Builder Mastermind is going to be more of a dialogue between the reps, so that they can work with each other to help them improve, because they don't all have the same resources as, say, a major distributor rep who has like a training regimen and all this stuff. It's very much more designed for people that don't have a lot of resources, that don't have a lot of training, that don't have a lot of direction, that don't have a crystal clear vision on how to get from point A to point B. So we were talking to James Zinklin yesterday of Misguided Spirits, and he was talking about how he set a goal for 12,000 cases, like specifically 12,000 cases. And he said, here's where we are right now, and here's where we want to be. And then they made a map that articulated the steps in between them. Now, they have a unique business model in the fact that their employees are also the owners. So they may have advantages and disadvantages to get to that point, but the point is they had a clear vision, and so they had a roadmap. And if you don't have a clear destination, it's very, very, very much harder to get to the point where you want to be. So I gained a lot out of that talk just by listening to him. It was more of an interview style than a seminar style, but he has a very interesting business model, and he will do well because they have a great offer. And so a lot of brands just don't have a great offer. They don't have a great elevator pitch. They don't have a great way of articulating what they do and why they're different from every other vodka in their well and on the shelf, and every other tequila. Most tequilas make a great margarita, by the way. I'm just saying, most of them. And most people can't tell the difference between a good margarita and a great margarita. And so if you're able to articulate in terms that the buyer understands by listening to them and just asking them questions and finding out what is interesting and compelling for them, then you're just telling, not selling. And so I'm kind of bouncing around here a little bit, but this is how I develop the content for my daily emails and my daily messaging. So the point is that we are creating joint ventures. Everything that we do is creating joint ventures. And yes, there is a transactional element to it, and there are people that the retailers make a rip on the retail cost of it. But at the end of the day, we have the same customers, and at the end of the day, and there is so much friction in between the individual steps, and the whole point of the Supplier Summit and all the subsequent events and the Brand Builder Mastermind are to alleviate and mitigate the stress between these elements. And so we're trying to deliver content that makes sense, that you can consume, but more importantly, develop a community of people that really care about their businesses, the health of the businesses that they work with, and ultimately provide a better service and value to the customers that they serve. So that's kind of it. There's not a whole lot of complexity here. It doesn't have to be difficult. It can be simple, but not easy. But it is simple for sure. If we provide service, if we provide value, and this is coming from my background as a bartender, it's like if you provide service, if you provide value, then people will show up. Now, value comes in many different forms. To a billionaire, a Bugatti is a value, but that is unattainable to somebody like a middle-class worker, for instance. So if we're not articulating and creating value and putting aces in the right places, then we're going to have a very difficult time making deals. So the whole point of all the things that I'm doing with Who's My Rep to create more visibility for brand reps. The Brand Builder Mastermind, which is to create connections between brand reps so they can help each other. And there's plenty of room to help each other, by the way. Hot seats, Fail Fridays, talking about your failures, book clubs, coursework, just templates. It's like a lot of times people start from scratch when they're making a brand presentation, and they shouldn't have to do that. A lot of times they're starting from scratch when they should have an elevator pitch template. So we're loading those up right now on a daily basis of just like done for you services. And so that's all part of the Brand Builder Mastermind coming up next. But I got a whole bunch of things that I want to do, like just because of the success of the Supplier Summit. I've seen that there's an appetite for this kind of information, and I want to make sure that it's available. And I understand that brands are not always well funded. In fact, they're typically not funded. In fact, the people that I want to work with don't have any money, which is against my mentor's advice. But that's the people that I want to serve. So I want to create some low cost, high value resources for them to work together. And that means technology. If I didn't use the technology that I use, which comes from all over the place, then I would have to charge $5-10 grand a month. But I use software heavily. I use automation heavily, and I use virtual assistants heavily to make sure that that I'm able to provide a high level of value and service at a very low cost and at scale, by the way. So lots of exciting things on the horizon. I seem to have found something that I'm really good at, that I love to do, that the world needs. April Wachtel was talking about Ikigai yesterday. This is the Ikigai concept, where it's, you run through this little chart and you find what the world needs, what you're good at, what you like to do, and there's another thing there. But it's like basically 4 concentric circles, and then what happens in the very middle of that is what you're supposed to be doing. So very exciting stuff. April got me really fired up yesterday about being an entrepreneur and being the change that the world needs. I didn't understand the title yesterday, but now I understand it. She was talking about this is how you find out what you're supposed to be doing, and it typically revolves around being a business. And just a note about that is, like, if you start a business, you start up at the top. You're the highest rank with the lowest salary and the most responsibility. But if you start at a company, there's much more security, much more safety. But you start at the bottom and you make the least, and you get paid last, by the way. You get paid after everyone else gets paid. After your benefits are paid, after the taxes are paid. And just a note about taxes. That's what the rich folks are most afraid of. And if you want to be rich, then listen to what the rich folks do. And so the rich folks are terrified of taxes, and for a very good reason, because depending on which tax bracket you're at, you're paying between 30 and 40, maybe up to 50% in taxes. So that means 50 cents out of every dollar that you make gets taken out of your paycheck before you make any money. Whereas if you are an independent business owner, then you pay taxes after you've learned how much money you have, after how much money you've made, which means that you make deductions first. The money that you get paid $10,000 for something, and then $4,000 of that goes to expenses first. That means that you actually only made $6,000, and so that $6,000 is taxable, and that's before deductions and all this other stuff. So start a business and run everything through your business and see what happens. So lots of fun stuff on the horizon. The objective, the mission, the obsession is by helping other people build their businesses in a more meaningful way, faster, because you don't have to struggle. You don't have to wait. There are people out there. There are things out there that can help you get to where you want to go faster. So I would obsess more about knowing where you want to go and knowing what done looks like, what the destination point is, rather than obsessing over the minutia and getting caught up with things that don't really matter that much, or that won't matter in a month. Zoom out, see what you can do to get some clarity on where you want to be. And if you have a hard time with that, then give me a call, let me know, or check out the Ikigai chart. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you for listening again. If anybody's here, I do these mostly for me, actually. But yeah, so I look forward to seeing you at the Supplier Summit day 3 today. Day 4, the final day is tomorrow, and then we'll do this either next quarter or next year, depending on what we end up doing. But it's a lot of work. Oh my God, it's a lot of work. Because I didn't know how to do anything for the Supplier Summit. There's a lot of things I didn't know. And next time around, there will be a lot more outsourcing, a lot more automation, a lot more individual outreach, a lot more. I'll probably put some money behind it to advertise it. But again, the idea is not to. I got 180 tickets sold, which makes me very happy. And it helps, I got enough content for my podcast for 2 different podcasts for a year. Now I'm chopping everything up into bite-sized nuggets, which is how people like to consume things. That's why I'm not worried about anybody seeing this, is because a 20-minute video nobody's ever going to see, unless it's got good storytelling and flashy editing and all this stuff. But I don't do that. So at least not right now. I won't be able to do that until I'm able to pay somebody to do that, which is not where I'm at right now. But yeah, so lots of fun things on the horizon. Thank you for checking this out, and I will see you next time. Bye.